You're listening to a Bored to Death Marvelcast, talking all things Marvel and MCU in easily digestible chunks.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and other assorted gender assignations. Welcome back to the Bored to Death Marvelcast. I am Jay, being joined by
Sam.
Zeke.
We also have the Peanut Gallery and Cat from Shadow Cat Cosplay, and the Bingecat over there playing with his toy. And we are back for episode 5 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Penultimate episode, titled Truth. John Walker faces consequences for his actions, and Sam and Bucky return to the U.S.
Now the question is, do they return on their own free will or by force?
Well, based on the thumbnail, looks like it's probably of their own free will. But, yeah, last episode ended on quite a turn, because John Walker took the last remaining vial of the super soldier serum, and then Battlestar got killed, got punched in the chest and yeeted into a wall.
I would not react to that word.
And then John Walker basically went ballistic and straight up murdered a dude in broad daylight in front of dozens of witnesses who were all recording him on their cell phones. And we had that final shot of the episode of him standing there with the shield on his arm with the blood stain on it.
You know, ask the question, how do you clean blood off vibranium?
The same way you
With
clean
the
it off
hose.
anything else.
With bleach?
Yeah. But, because I just remember when we were watching that episode and we saw Battlestar get, hit that wall and just slump over. And Zeke and I both just went, oh shit!
And I had already seen it, and I already did my oh shit, so I looked over at you guys while it was happening going, alright, where's the reaction?
Yeah, and also Baron Zemo escaped, and the Dora Milaje are still chasing after him, and the Dora Milaje, especially Ao or Io or however her name is supposed to be pronounced, is pretty pissed at Bucky because he helped Zemo escape.
I love the internet for their memes.
Which meme specifically?
The only Captain America.
Oh yeah, the only. Yeah, is that random Dora Milaje who kicked the shield up onto her arm.
Yeah.
Well, and that whole scene was one of the things that led to Walker's decision to take the serum, because he tried taking them on and they just whooped his ass, and he's like, they weren't even super soldiers.
I love the word. You want to take on Bucky before you even try to take them on?
Yeah, exactly. It's just sort of like, they ain't super soldiers, but they will whoop your ass. And boy, did they.
They weren't even super soldiers.
Yeah, it was... Well, and I think it was you pointed out, Sam, that there was one of the Dora Milaje just straight up started attacking Battlestar, who hadn't done anything.
That poor guy, the whole time, in different episodes, has been attacked, shot at, swung at, hit. Like, he was the one captured in the episode.
In a sense, it was very, kind of a snapshot of what life is like for black people. They're sort of like the victims of a lot of this random violence from people in authority and law enforcement. Because, yeah, but then again, it was sort of black on black crime there, so I don't know how that skews things. But regardless, John Walker is absolutely going to be facing consequences for what he did. Although what those consequences are, we still don't know. And, with 2 episodes left now, this one being an hour episode, and we've got the finale next week. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes and how they resolve the Flag Smasher story arc here.
They're not.
What?
I don't think they will. I think they're going to be a continuing force through the phase 4.
Yeah, this is phase 4.
So I think they're going to be a continuing force. Kind of like a regime that pops up once in a while to be the catalyst for emotion.
It's possible. I don't know. Also curious to know how Sam's sister is going to react to, or Falcon's sister is going to react to everything, because it was Karli calling her up to try to get in touch with Falcon. That, you know, Karli straight up threatening her family in the process. Yeah, there's going to be some consequences for that.
I still love the fact that at movie theaters, I still swear the chick from the freaking movie theater commercial is the same chick.
The one from the AMC
yes, the red
movie.
hair girl with freckles. I guess they all look the same to me. I guess I don't know. Wow. So you're saying that
but
all
your
right?
wife don't look like that at all.
Yeah. What about Kat?
She doesn't have freckles on her face, so therefore she's different.
You are going to get it in the neck later.
What do you mean later? It's probably what happens if you didn't cut.
Oh yeah.
That's why I'm going to extend this one as long as I can.
It's been good having Zeke on the Bingecast. You know,
what do you mean?
we are
Ow! God damn it!
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today.
He finally got out of retail, and it was the last breath he ever said.
Well, you're not out of retail yet.
Don't
Don't get too ahead of yourself there, buddy. But yes, so
be attacked.
yeah, interested to see where this is all going. Anybody else have anything they feel like adding before we jump into this?
Well, here's place your bet. Do you think Zemo's going to show up in this episode or next episode?
I think Zemo will show up. That's another thing. Is the Power Broker going to make another move? Because the Power Broker has been gunning for Karli.
That's what I think. I think he's going to show up at episode
6. Okay.
Because I think it's going to end with them, the Power Broker, chasing them away to make them constantly show up in other movies and pieces.
Going along with that, I think it's not going to be necessarily the Flag Smashers that are the sort of arc antagonist of Phase 4, but the Power Broker.
Mm-hmm. I'll go with that.
And what the Power Broker could end up doing is offering Karli, at the very least, if not the other Flag Smashers, if the other Flag Smashers make it out alive.
He's going to put a bullet in her brain, being, if you do not want to follow her, follow me.
If not, maybe not even that. Maybe the Power Broker offers them sanctuary in Madripoor.
I can't call it that. I keep thinking Tortuga every time you say that name.
Okay, you can call it Tortuga. We'll understand, and I'll provide a translation for it. But so I think that will wrap up this little intro. So we'll see you after the binge.
Hello, and thanks for listening. While we're binging, please give us a like and subscribe. If you want to reach out, do it via our social media on Facebook or Twitter at BTD_Bingecast. The Bored to Death Clan is part of the CKCC Radio family, including J Bunny's Music Hub, the Race Nerd Podcast, Real Paranormal Talk, Ranking Tracks, Motivational Moves, The A Show, Park Hopper 101, and The Nerd Table. Please consider supporting CKCC Radio on Patreon so we can continue to bring you podcast content. And now, the binge is done, so let's get to the discussion.
And we're back. So, before we get into this episode had a lot of social commentary. A lot of it. Like, the whole episode was basically social commentary. And a lot of it has to do with, like, race in America and throughout American history. And we are not really the best kind of people to sort of comment on the appropriateness of that sort of thing, because we're a bunch of white boys.
Well, we can also agree that what had happened,
Yes.
whether it be now or then, was wrong.
Yes, like this episode shed a lot more light on what happened to Isaiah Bradley. And holy shit, it's no surprise the dude is as bitter as he is. We're not saying that what happened to him was right in any way, by any means. Fuck no. That was, he was a good man. Just the problem was he was a good black man in white man's America.
Well, back in the day where racism was still widely accepted
and institutionalized. It was a lot of that, and we're not saying that it's not institutionalized now. Nowadays, there's a lot more light shed on it, but that doesn't mean that it's still not there. It's just nowadays you can't get away with it to the same extent, but there's still just a lot of ingrained ways of thinking that still plague us. But
now that you've muddled around that,
I'm trying to think of how best to say it, but
there's no way best way to say it.
No.
We offend you, we apologize.
Yes,
it is not trying to put our moral beliefs against yours. This is the best thing to say, and I would apologize if I offend anybody. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. So these are all opinions and all, not our beliefs, but our thoughts.
Right. Our thoughts
to the best of
on
our
the
ability.
Our thoughts on the episode. Let's
and
say
the
say that.
characters in said episode.
Right. We're not commenting on current events. We are commenting on events in this show.
I want to say this without. I hate time stamping things. Like
I get you.
When you sit there and you put this in a show like this, it's now time stamped to this period. Or like when you use famous words that are only used like a week or two, and then that was made in the 50s because of this word right here. I hate timestamp things.
There's an actual term for it, and I can't think of it right now. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like it's just but the episode opens with the immediate aftermath of Walker's murder of that flag smasher, as he chases after Karli, but she's had too much of a head start, and he ends up slowing down to catch his breath, which is when Falcon and Bucky get there, and they're like, "We're gonna need the shield back."
So
that goes about as well
that,
as you'd
this
expect.
This is what I wanted to comment.
Yes,
on.
Go ahead, Sam.
I felt for the character a little bit in between, because of course he just lost his best friend.
Yes.
His buddy, one of the few people that survived their tour in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
His
emotional anchor.
His emotional anchor. Yes, he's seemed real off kilter in general, but when he's anchored with Battlestar, it's like a synergy. He keeps him grounded completely. So when he's dead and he sees him, of course he's going to go through a fit of rage. Granted, yes, he did overstep real hard, but he had the emotions and the immediate effects of whatever cocktail version of the super soldier serum, because this could have been a similar situation to roid rage.
We're not entirely. It's not entirely clear how soon prior to that whole sequence he'd injected himself.
He injected it on the staircase, I thought.
I don't know.
Because I remember seeing the red mark that moment.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Regardless,
So it could be enhancing his feelings right then.
Except one of the things
not justifying his killing him.
No, not at all. But remember last episode when he and Battlestar were talking about talking about the serum and everything, and Battlestar is trying to bring him out of his funk by kind of reminding him about you got the Medal of Honor 3 times. He's like 3 badges of accomplishment for the worst day of my life, and
so of course he's still traumatized.
Yes, he's got PTSD, but he also, from his comments, he did some really questionable shit on that day and stuff that he'd rather forget. And instead, he has 3 medals of honor to remind him of it. He is a guy that I think had some rage stuff. Yeah, some of it's probably born out of his PTSD. But, I don't think it was necessarily roid rage. Remember, the serum enhances what's there.
They say that, but this is not the original serum, not the stuff that was used on Steve Rogers.
But it's based off that same stuff.
You can't really
and furthermore, remember what Battlestar also said, power just makes you more of who you are.
You really can't say it's based off the same stuff because that formula was gone. Yes, it was. They took it from
Steve Rogers' blood.
Not Steve, because they took it from another guy.
Oh, Isaiah Bradley.
They took it from Isaiah.
And even he said he doesn't know what it was.
Yeah.
It was just some variation.
It was a cocktail that was close, but I wouldn't even say similar. Maybe 80% more likely
because Isaiah said part of his platoon that was injected with it died.
And then keep in mind, part of the equation.
And they were all just given different versions of it.
Part of the equation is Steve Rogers himself. What makes him tick? It was that combination that made the formula 100%. You're never going to get that formula again. So that's why I can't chalk the cocktail. But power does make your inner voices come out a little bit more. I would say.
If you want to corrupt.
I wouldn't say corrupt, because even Steve Rogers may be the exception to this case.
Mm-hmm.
Is the exception.
No, maybe he is.
Well, you have power. It doesn't always lead to corruption. It's the mindset that comes up. Am I doing the right thing because it's the right thing to my mind, or the right thing to the public mind? Is it the right thing? Because if a guy is being bullied or picked on, is it the right thing to step up to defend that person? Or is it the right thing to turn a blind eye? Each person is going to give you a different answer. Each person is going to give you a different opinion. We both went on the same circumstances. When my wife was being picked on, and you did something, it was either A, when you said something about it, you were picked on even more.
And or punished.
B, ignored completely, and the pick on got even worse. Or C, consequences happened, which again led to more harassment. So some people look at it like, hey, if I leave it alone, this kid is going to be better off if I turn my blind eye because it won't be as bad. So in that mindset, it's still, I am doing the right thing compared to the guy who steps up and goes, hey, I'm backing this kid, but now he doesn't know what's happening behind the closed doors. So in his mindset, he still did the right thing, even though the consequences are more
Dramatic.
Same thing goes with him. He believed vengeance for vengeance. That was his...
Life for a life.
Yes, an eye for an eye. He believed that was his good. At that point in time.
He believed he was doing the right thing.
At that point.
In
Granted,
that moment.
it wasn't the person who killed him, but it was one of their group.
You hurt someone close to me, I'm going to hurt someone close to you.
But, that's sort of where he was going with it. And in the aftermath, once he went back...
Oh, don't skip too far ahead.
Yeah.
So while he's in there, I'm feeling for him. He's losing himself because he has lost his anchor. He is essentially his partner.
He is adrift in a.
Well, it was his partner. So.
Yeah, and he is adrift in an emotional hurricane.
We see that someone a little more questionable on the morals, having a similar situation to what happened to Cap. Because Cap did lose his Bucky, or so we thought, and then later on came back, and he went through a lot more after that because he was frozen. Came back, his
everybody that
partner
he knew.
came back. Everyone he knew was dead. Bucky comes back evil, a part of Hydra, of who they were fighting, and he's through a lot, and he still fights through it because he was always a scrapper.
I could do this all day.
Yeah, and he dealt with bullies himself. Now, the question is, we don't know. We've seen Cap through his life, then.
Yeah.
Through the movies. We haven't seen this character through his youngest times. We haven't even seen what he did in Afghanistan. So, if he says it was questionable, we can only take his word. Whether or not... Because...
Or at least infer that from the way he talked about it.
Usually when you do stuff like that, you put it in your mind, you usually go as deep as you can go. Nobody ever goes kind of wishy-washy through the middle. They either go as deep as they go or as shallow. Because you never...
there are no middle gears in that scenario.
Because if someone tells you, it's like, I got some news for you, my immediate thought is it's the worst news ever. And it's just like, oh, could you go pick this up, or this came in the mail? When I thought they were going to call me and tell me somebody's died. So
Yeah.
it's all in what's going on in your life at the moment and how it's happening.
Yeah, it's like the 4 worst words that you can hear sometimes are "we need to talk."
Yeah.
That's a fun relationship
I
one.
think mine is, we need, I'm sorry, but you need to be quarantined.
Yeah, Zeke is making a personal reference there. You know,
Well, they've been with us for a while. They knew that there was the quarantine.
yeah, we had the COVID
Oh, now we're
scare.
dating ourselves. That's the word, dating.
There we go, and we brought it back anyway.
So at that moment, I'm feeling for the guy again. I'm like, all right, yeah, he took the serum, but he went for what his buddy said was best. Take the serum, be Cap, and that's what he keeps telling himself. He's gonna be Captain America. He's gonna have the same super soldier serum. He's gonna have the outfit. He's gonna have the shield.
He's gonna have the
that
power,
respect
and then
the power.
people will respect him. Yeah,
But in that moment, he's losing himself because he's lost his partner.
right.
Completely and utterly lost his partner and his mind and his job. He knew at the moment that he had done that and all the cameras were there.
And he knows that there's going to be consequences for that.
So at that moment, I'm feeling for him. But then when he turns to Bucky and Falcon and go, or Bucky and Sam, and look at him and say, oh, you're going to try to take the shield from me, huh? Is this what this is about? Because they had been, honestly, that
He was like,
it's fair for him to think that because of what they kept saying. You don't need this. You don't deserve this. You don't things all throughout the show, making him feel inadequate, and that's what he'd been fighting. And he's probably fighting himself over this, that he can't fill Steve Rogers' shoes. I believe he is not going to be the full-on villain of the show.
no, he's an He's
But
sort
I
of an
mean,
anti-villain
We're
in a sense.
approaching episode 6, so kind of.
And considering what we saw him doing in the Stinger, which we'll get to, seems to imply that he's about to take steps of his own.
He's
Oh
going.
my
this.
God, he's the guy from Punisher.
Huh.
In the Netflix Punisher, you had 2 stories going on. You had the story of the Punisher, and then you had the guy who came back from Afghanistan.
The bomber,
The bomber in the Punisher movie. In the TV show.
the Netflix Punisher.
Where
Yeah.
he was brought back and he dug the hole like how he lived
It dug like a bunker in his
in the
backyard.
backyard. This is the fucking Punisher. Because he's not...
Not the Punisher, but that guy from the Punisher.
He's not the main bad guy. He is one of the pieces that are moving the plot forward.
And and what it sounds like, the guy that came back was kind of mentally lost at that point. Because I'm guessing he was put in a prison hole when he was over there in Afghanistan.
I don't know.
We don't know exactly what happened
The
on that
whole
mission.
reason you're introduced to the character is...
Oh, you're talking about Punisher. We still don't know really what happened there, but it's...
What was his name? The guy who was friends with Punisher.
The guy with the artificial...
Yeah, he had artificial leg, and he had this group of people...
Yeah, it was like a literal group therapy.
Who were
thing.
suffering from PTSD.
Oh, that's
and
PTSD and stuff. Oh my God, that's from...
He was brought back...
That's from the show.
I think because he lost... I think he injured... No, his platoon. His platoon died. And he was brought back because of that aspect.
Momentarily distracted by the binge cat climbing into a box like cats do.
He's climbing into it real weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see some of the same parallels, but...
I'm trying not to make him the complete bad guy in my head.
Yeah,
Because-
it's like we can completely understand the degeneration of his mental state because they're presenting it in a very understandable way, but at the same time, it's like he is being pushed to these extremes where it's like, yo, dude, you're going way too far. It's like, I get it, but you need to stop.
And they have a...
Sorry, the cat just suddenly making the box making noise there in the background.
To the extreme!
Anyway,
So they had their fight, of course, out of all that. And he showed himself pretty viable against both of them.
oh yeah,
My brain was screaming so hard at the plot hole, though.
what plot hole?
Okay, episode 1, I think it was. Bucky and Falcon are fighting the Flag Smashers.
That was episode 2.
2, thank you. Episode
Right.
2. And Bucky gets hit by them and goes, "These are super soldiers."
Yep.
there's no point where they sit there and acknowledge the elephant in the room where he's taking the serum.
I think they're well aware of the serum taking because of the fight.
But would you say that if you're a super soldier and I'm a normal person, I'm your teammate, and I'm fighting with you, and you get punched by a Mack truck, wouldn't you be going, hey, we might want to warn you, Zeke, that this guy's taking the soldier serum, so be careful.
I think he found out after that first hit. That first hit he took.
Yeah,
But
I don't
also
know.
They showed right in the last episode when they were doing their all of them were fighting. Bucky looked and saw what he had done, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, he took the fucking serum." And I'm sure they had that talk on the way there.
Probably.
They didn't show us, but they probably had kept each other informed. But
Yeah.
the
Show,
fight,
don't tell.
the fight between Walker and Falcon and Bucky was pretty kind of brutal.
It was
Because
pretty brutal.
Walker refused to back down, refused to surrender the shield, and so he's punching them across the room.
He wasn't going for kill shots right away until towards the end of the fight where he was just losing it.
Yeah,
He was going for,
I think it was after they broke his arm, because as they're trying to like pry the shield away from him, he's holding onto it as hard as he can. And I gotta say, the straps that they have on that shield are as strong as the vibranium is to not stand up to that.
Theory for that.
Oh,
Is it
you
made
do?
out of the rhino's hide from Wakanda?
No, because remember, the older stuff lasts a whole hell of a lot longer than the new stuff.
Yeah,
That's why.
You
Yeah,
can ask
but-
my
Because
original Game Boy brick.
that stuff was made in World War II.
World War II, yeah, maybe.
I'm sure they had some upgrades too.
They had some really good materials that still last. to
Yeah,
this
but
day.
but to hold up to that level of pulling force,
Yeah, I can see it happening.
I mean, it's wrapped in leather, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it's still made of vibranium
the shield is, but the leather of the straps.
inside the strap.
We made with the movie, then to put it on.
Could still be chain.
I gotta go back.
Yeah, but I don't know.
We don't know the full properties of vibranium.
Yeah, and would
They made a suit out of it.
would non-Wakandans know how to weave vibranium into fabrics?
No.
Exactly. Leather is sort of a fabric in that sense. At any rate, but during the fight, Walker like rips Falcon's wings off of his.
I thought he was
jetpack.
at first. I was getting real scared because I thought he was choking him out.
I saw him like grabbing the shoulder at the shoulders. I knew it wasn't like at his throat, but I'm
I
like,
couldn't
what is he
really
doing?
tell. I
And then
couldn't really tell.
as he started pulling out, I'm like, oh, he's going for the wings.
Because they smacked him across the face a couple dozen times.
Yep.
And I like how they're showing more and more of Falcon's fighting ability.
Yeah.
He has improved a lot since Ant-Man.
Probably because of that fight. But more to the
trained
point,
him?
it's like he was using the wings like an
Who
extra.
trained
Like
him?
Cap. 'Cause, I mean,
we did see that. We did see that at the end of
Could you imagine
Winter Soldier.
Could you imagine the conversation? Hey, Cap, I need a favor.
Or
What's
no,
that?
it wasn't Winter Soldier. It was.
I need to be trained. Why is that? That's
Hand
like
to
my
hand.
butt kicked by an ant. What?
Well, he was a man. An ant-man.
A man the size of an ant.
He hit like a man.
But
Man.
you know, like with the fighting style, like he used the wings like an extra limb. Like he used them to like
Yeah.
sweep the legs and stuff. It was a interesting take on it. I'm like, that's cool.
I like how he used the thruster, too.
Yeah. To
Well,
like
it's fun
provide
to
the extra support for
Because
the
he's
wrenching
not-
ability.
Because he's not super soldier. He's just man.
Mm-hmm.
Strong man.
He like when he was trying to use the grappling hook to pull the shield away. You know, he
Dude, that
stayed
grappler
airborne and
was
was
cool.
using the rocket to do it.
I like that when he flew past him like he was going to hit him and then hit it with the grapple. When he flew through, I was like, that's slick shit.
That's smart. That's smart. You don't want to
I
get
was
into
like,
it.
keep him airborne. He can't use any of his strength, and he holds on to something. I was like, oh, welp.
Yep.
That's not going to go well.
Well, we remember when Steve Rogers held a helicopter in place with just his arms. But the final moment, the final thing that they used to take down Walker,
Falcon had the shield. Bucky like grabbed Walker by the leg and
so cool.
swung him like a baseball bat into the shield as Falcon flew at him.
With the shield. Oh, my
We all just went, "Holy shit!"
That was a damn good combo move.
Yeah, that was like straight up there with the fastball special. It's a great team up move.
That's classic.
And
we had him coming back to America to face
justice or repercussions, at least, for what happened. Because as was pointed out, new Captain America murdered a foreign national in broad daylight in full view of the public.
And it wasn't part of the mission.
It was full-on international incident.
And have you seen The Boys season 2?
I have not seen season 2 yet.
Hey Dan, did it remind you of the courtroom scene? Did you start getting flashbacks?
The only thing I can think of right now, when you mention The Boys, is I want to see fucking Homelander standing proud as could be, looking up as you have this Captain America looking at him, about to take a fight to him.
And you want John Walker to get lasered in the
Yeah, he would just
immediately.
straight die.
Well, no, I think he would.
You think Vibranium could?
No,
deflect it?
I think that he would try to manipulate him to make him his own pawn, Homelander. So you have him and Homelander teamed up.
You think Walker is going to manipulate Homelander?
I think Homelander's going to manipulate.
Okay, I was about to say, wait,
I
what?
can
No.
use this to my advantage.
Okay,
And
yes.
You know what the problem is? Homelander doesn't think that he doesn't need people. Most recently proven in the last episode of it.
Yeah, but after he started peeing off that building, that's why I'm thinking his morals might be changed a little bit on that one.
Are you sure he's peeing?
That's true. I forgot about that part. Never mind. I retract my statement.
Anyway,
So
Walker.
Yeah, all I gotta say is I had The Boys PTSD flashbacks of that scene while he was getting pissed off in court.
Is he's like banging his hand on the podium?
I was expecting the podium to break.
Yeah,
Which
me
is very
too.
Strong since he's a super soldier again.
But yeah,
Maybe he wasn't putting his all into it.
yeah, he could have been holding back because it's
He's
not.
not trying to show it because nobody else knows.
But here's the problem with that. You just got this extremely amount of power. It takes time to get used to it. Like how,
Yeah, that's fair.
like how Superman says, I have to walk on eggshells so I don't destroy the
I feel like
plane."
I'm living in a world made of cardboard.
Yes!
Yeah, it's like we saw how strong Steve Rogers was in Age of Ultron when they're on the Barton's farm and he and Tony are chopping wood. And finally, Steve Rogers just gets pissed off and rips one of the logs in half with his bare hands.
He got bare hands.
I am Groot.
I
am Groot!
No.
No, not Groot. He's the last of his kind.
It reminds me of when we saw Brian Cage on AEW rip that ladder in half.
Well, we sent Braun Strowman ripping the gate off.
ripping the steel cage open. But
So
back to Walker in the courtroom. He gets basically, other than honorably discharged, not full on dishonor, but they strip
I've
him of
never
his.
heard of that version.
It sort of stands to reason. It's just sort of like, we're not going to full on say it's dishonorable, but it's not an honorable discharge either.
He
I
should
don't-
counted himself lucky on that.
Yeah. If it was dishonorable, that would have been like the
I think
worst.
his accolades are what kept him afloat on that.
Oh yeah. But they basically stripped him of all title and authority.
No retirement, no nothing.
And, it's like he is
The
retired.
state
He is
owes you
retired from the military, but he gets no benefits. And he got pissed off. He's like, I am what you made me to be. You built me. And he finally just walked out of the courtroom. He did get pretty heated at one point, like banging his hand on the podium.
And we get introduced to somebody else outside the courtroom.
Yep,
Elaine from Seinfeld.
from Seinfeld, yeah, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. But after the courtroom scene, Walker is sat out in in the hall somewhere with his wife, and she's trying to
We'll just take it one step at a time.
take it one step at a time, and then suddenly
We'll get through
this
it
woman
together.
shows up, introduces herself as Contessa Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine.
I'm like, that full name sounds so familiar.
And so I did look her up in the episode. I was like, Marvel Contessa. It's Madame Hydra. and she's sits herself down between the two, and it's just
like
and
parting the Red Sea, please.
She's just talking at him, basically. Sort of, what was it she was saying during the scene? Because I got so distracted, like trying to figure out who she was.
to the effect of, he handed the card to his wife and was telling him, like, we could use you, we could.
It's like they don't know what they're throwing away with everything.
We know they're stupid. They don't know what they're doing. Everything. And I'm like, huh. Yeah.
And then she hands him this card, and she leaves, and she's like, "I'll be in touch. You'll want to take my call," sort of thing. And when he looks at the card, he's like, "It's blank. There's nothing on it." So yeah, that's the fact that Madam Hydra's just shown up. We got Madam Hydra. We got
showing up on second to last episode.
So I don't think it's going to be Power Broker or the Flag Smashers that are going to be the antagonists for Phase 4 of MCU.
It's still going to be him. But
what Walker?
No. Oh, for this show, I'm talking.
Yeah, for the show, Walker is still going to be an antagonist. But I think we have now been introduced to who the players are going to be in Phase 4. Phase 4's arc villains. I think it's going to be some remnant of Hydra or something like it.
See,
I think the Power Brokers have something to do with Hydra.
Probably.
We should go on with the episode first, unless you have something to add.
I really think with her being said as a piece, that S.H.I.E.L.D. is back. Because you can't have one without the other. And
or S.H.I.E.L.D. gets reformed because of the... Of course, they're probably doing shadow work, and S.H.I.E.L.D. is probably doing shadow work as well.
I think, Sword is out there. S.H.I.E.L.D. is still in the... Because no one knew about S.H.I.E.L.D. at the beginning, and then all of a sudden S.H.I.E.L.D. got smacked in everybody's face. And then they disappear again. I really think if Hydra's starting to move again, S.H.I.E.L.D. is somewhere in the works. Starting to build their pieces back up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Maybe that's how the whole Young Avengers thing starts to get formed, because S.H.I.E.L.D. basically is like, we need to have a new generation of heroes to deal with a new generation of threats.
I was hoping Battlestar was going to live through this and be part of that, because I thought he was a Young Avenger.
Eli Bradley.
Oh. A grandson.
The grandson of Isaiah, yes. And after that, and throughout all this, we should also note that the GRC, the Global Repatriation Council, raided the refugee camps and centers where all of the Flag Smashers supporters were, arrested everybody and carted them off, which just further radicalized Karli, because she was like, they're not going to stop unless we stop them.
But here's the other problem: she caused it.
Mm-hmm.
She caused her own extra problems.
I love my brain.
And last episode, she did sort of highlight the fact that she doesn't seem to recognize that she is making matters worse. That it's like, yes, we get your motives here, but your methods are just making them dig their heels in even further.
I love my brain, because when that happened, I was thinking Firefly, the scene, Serenity, where he's on...
Oh, in the movie, yeah.
And he's like, when you're hunting your quarry, make sure they have no ground to go to.
Oh, with the operative, yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
When your quarry goes to ground, leave them no ground to go back to.
And that was the screaming point, especially when they started looking like, we are the enemy. It's like, you've been making these moves, and you think there's no consequences? Every hiding ground you thought was safe has now been taken down.
Yes. And the worst part is, and she doesn't realize that, she's like, well, now they're in worse places, this and that. You put these people in worse places.
And she's further proving the point of, oh God, what's his name? Starts with Z.
Zemo?
Zemo. She's further proving Zemo's point, especially as much as
she's not going to stop.
Not going to stop. That she's not just that, but she's also
a supremacist.
Yes, that guy.
Yep.
Well, and it's like the GRC, you can understand them. It's like, we'll take away the support that they have. The problem is, not all of their support is in those refugee camps, because the Flag Smashers have such a big online following, as we saw at the end of the episode. But we'll get to that a little bit later, because then we get into a lot more of the social commentary stuff that is tricky to talk about. Falcon went to go see Isaiah Bradley
with the shield.
With the shield.
I liked it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the scenes were bad.
No,
it's just difficult to.
It's difficult to talk about, and that's why it's not that I like it, because it made what I feel like to be the whole. Yes, it is a matter that needs to be talked about through social media and stuff like that.
And through the media, it's like ignoring it is not going to make things better.
But the way that they did it this time, I liked it. Yes, it's a gentleman of color, me talking to a gentleman of color about his past. But the fact that he was a hard ass at the beginning. First time you met him, I want nothing to do with you. Get out of my house. This is my house.
Yeah.
And then the second time he comes up, he's not as mean. He's not as mean.
It's like maybe maybe even he had a chance to calm down and be like, I handled that badly.
I think it was different because Bucky was there.
Yes.
Bucky, yeah, that's true. Because Bucky, it's like he saw him and was just like, "You're the guy whose ass I kicked in Korea.
But
You want to go again? I'll rip your arm off again."
The fact that he like, don't pull that flag out, don't pull that shield out, don't. He starts talking, and the part that got me the most was the letters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He humanized him so well.
Well, it's not really. He wasn't dehuman to begin with. He was just kind of crotchety.
But it's just sort of like they added depth to his character.
Why he's like that?
Exactly.
Now, this is probably going to piss people off, and again, opinions like assholes. I just wish it wasn't with the same media that we've been smacked our faces constantly. We see it in real life. We see it in our Facebook posts, our media posts. We see it in every form of entertainment. Every form, music, movies, TV shows.
YouTube.
Please, do an Asian kid. Do a Mexican guy. Do something else. I know I'm going to make someone mad, and I apologize. Just give me something different, please.
Besides just...
This drum has been beaten to the point where my ears are bleeding out. Give me just one. You go back to your drum. Go back to your drum. After you give me one. One other person, go back to the drum. I'm fine. And I'm sorry that I had to say that.
That's alright. It's understandable because it's just been.
I really liked it though. I really liked that piece. That piece was so good.
It's what the whole show has kind of been leading to, and kind of been more subtle about. A little less subtle in some episodes than others.
Yeah, it gets a little heavy-handed. Yeah.
And as I said, I really liked that piece. Like, heck, you guys.
The actors are amazing.
Yes. We're not faulting the actors at all. It's the writing, in a sense.
Sam, you could have changed. No, actually, I would have not changed. I would have changed Sam out than anybody else because I love the guy who does freaking Martian Manhunter. I love him so much because of the way he presents himself, the way he talks. He's always like his roles are
He's
so
really particular
rich with his acting skills.
Mm-hmm.
They're so rich. So
yeah.
As much as I would love to see Sam have this conversation, bring him someone else. Oh! You can bring him.
You got the problem with that though.
Bring him Hawk. Not Hawk. Agent.
Amadeus Cho.
Yes, that would have been awesome.
But here's the problem with that: when they're building up this show, of course, Falcon Winter Soldier, they're talking about the Super Soldier Serum, but then they're also building the Young Avengers with Isaiah.
That's why I said
Eli.
Eli, sorry.
That's why I said the show because
his mom was already in the movies.
Because wasn't his creation of his version of the Hulk still some of the Super Soldier like the Bruce Banner Hulk?
I don't know his background at all. I just know Amadeus Cho is the totally awesome Hulk. He's the son of I can't remember her first name.
Yeah.
But she was the one that was in
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron.
She developed like synthetic skin stuff.
I mean that been like because he still had the Super Soldier serum.
Is it Margaret?
No,
that's a comedian.
Yeah.
If they stuck with somewhat similar aspects of Bruce Banner, and he got caught in an experiment with the Super Soldier serum.
They might still have problems with Universal over that.
Yeah, that is the thing about the Hulk.
That would have in my mind.
I think they actually got the rights back recently.
So good because you would have added a little bit more texture to the pill. That
But then you'd be the problem. Similar situation where we're actually even more on point to current events than what are being portrayed in the episode.
I love being ignorant to current events because I have never caught any of that.
You've not caught any of the past months. Stop Asian hate.
No, actually, I have not. I think I jumped off the ship with Blink Lives Matter.
Ah.
And as much as I love that one, after being drummed to death at retail, because you had people wearing the mask, and we can't wear masks. Yeah, I jumped off the ship and just kind of went into my own bubble.
So to put a little more to that is somebody in another retail place that same company he worked for or is not going to be working for anymore had one of the BLM masks, and they took that as, oh, well, we're going to drive people away if they're against that or something. We can't have, and then they said, well, instead of just saying we can't have political things or current event stuff on our mask, they say no design of any kind.
He's this
Of
piece of shit.
any kind, and they give them like panty stocking that literally has some holes cut out for your ears to put over your face.
I forgot about those.
Oh, that drove me insane when you brought that home. I was like, I swear to God, damn, dude, seriously, this is what it is. Like, no.
I forgot because we went from that was such a short period in my life.
I told you could.
To solid blue to mask with the company logo, but we can't have any words besides the company logo.
The worst part is, didn't somebody have, or you have, like something with squiggles on it, and they said that's not appropriate. That's not.
No, my wife had cat face on hers, and that was considered appropriate.
Thankfully, she's out of there and is now working in a
told
job
you
where they
should do?
actually do love those masks that she wears.
You get whatever the design is, and then you take that pantyhose stocking and you put it over top, and if they tell you, hey, you got to put on a purple mask, I do. It's over top. I'm double masking. What's your problem now?
I so wanted to wear my Venom mask and
You should.
do that. Just have that smile coming through the panty mask.
You could have. I mean, what could they tell you? Put on the mask. It was like, sorry, the one on top is the one you guys provided me. Provide me a non-see-through one then, because that one doesn't provide enough protection.
No, see, that's when they would have provided you with a paper mask, which those things are sucky to hell. I feel sorry for whoever is forced to wear the paper mask for 8 hours of your life. You have the utmost sympathy for me. But back to Winter Soldier.
Back to Falcon and Winter Soldier. Well, let's talk about Winter
diverging.
Soldier, because after the whole scene with Isaiah,
Which was heart-wrenching.
oh yeah,
It was a beautiful piece.
it was
Still.
very beautiful. You know,
Where-
and we mentioned it without explaining context of the letters. Basically, it was explained that while he was thrown in prison for 30 years, his wife wrote him letters, but
It's
they
so
never
deeper, though.
he never got a single one, and they told her he was dead,
The fact that he went
and then
back,
she passed away while he was still locked up.
The fact that he broke out of his cell, because there was 5 of these people. 2 of them died. 2 of them were captured, and they were going to nuke the place.
Or at least bombard it.
They're going to light that thing up with
It was
bombs.
like, well, we know where the stuff is. They have them captured. They're gonna extract this formula. They're gonna find out this
We
formula.
need to destroy the evidence.
And he's like, these are my brother in arms. And
They
he
are not
broke
evidence.
off-
Yeah.
He broke off, which it states a really good. He broke out of security, snuck out, or broke out, whichever you
I don't
said
know.
broke.
Well, hold on. I don't know that he was necessarily in prison at that point. I think
He
he
wasn't.
might just have been like on an army.
He said he broke out.
Could have just been a facility. It might have been his going rogue like that is what caused them
That's
to
what
lock
I
him
think.
up.
I don't
It's-
think
that
it was
was-
prison, but I do think it was a lockdown in the science lab.
That may be, and that
And
may
he overheard what they were gonna
Yeah.
do.
And he broke out, saved them. Now, here's the thing that I really want to know, and I wish they gave more depth on. What happened? Because he said they're no longer alive. Was it because they came back and they put a bullet in their brains?
I don't think so.
You don't
I think
so?
it was may just have been a case they kept doing experiments on them.
Or he outlived them because he said I was the only one that actually had it work the way it worked,
True.
and theirs was just
like a lesser version.
lesser
or something.
version, or it was sugar water. But he was breaking them out because they were, like we've all said, his brothers in arms.
Yeah, it was just very sad to hear all this stuff that happened to him. It's one of those things that is meant to get you pissed off about how he was treated. You were commenting before we started recording about
somehow somebody saw it early and said, to the point, this is going to be a powerful episode, but we try to watch these shows
as escapists.
As escape, not to literally relive what we're living currently or have lived in our lives and have it just
smack you in the face.
Because we watch these superhero things to get away from it. We watch it to have hope.
The
thing I'm watching now, it's not really much hope because the Black Death come down to kill everybody in my comic book. So I'm like, that's not hope. It's more just escapism at that point in time.
Well, it is an escapism.
Yeah, this is just.
But we're not trying to escape reality to experience more of the same.
Yes. But the thing is,
I want to see people with spider powers. I want to see super soldiers.
We want to see them defeat the villain. It's like, how do you defeat something like institutionalized racism?
Well, that is very...
With a fist.
They tried.
Evan.
Because remember...
Sam is over here raising his fist in the air.
They tried. Because remember, back with the 9/11 thing, they actually introduced cops, firefighters, and they were trying to bring the superheroes, going, hey, these are the heroes.
These are the real heroes.
So they were trying to get rid of it.
They were trying to bring it back down to the ground level. Yes.
That's how you do it for the superheroes.
Fair enough.
But I'm going to interrupt you one more time, and I'll
go
stop
ahead.
Again. This goes back to the same thing that Sam was talking about. When you sat there and you think of the bad, when you hear the words, "We need to talk."
Mm-hmm.
Stuff, anything to that effect.
You guys are looking at the bad, but there was a little bit of good in that story. A little bit of good. A woman felt mercy for him.
This is true. The nurse.
Woman felt... Now, they didn't say... Again, we're going back to the same drum. I do apologize. They didn't say ethnicality of her. She could have been white.
Ethnicity, you mean.
Yeah, ethnicity.
He didn't mention it, so I believe...
But this is the best part about it. We all have our own thoughts about that one. But we're fixing on the bad. We got folks a little bit of the good. She felt pity, felt sadness for him. And said that he was dead.
She altered the records.
So he can be set free pretty much. At that
and
point
gave him the letters.
Yes. And gave him the letters of his wife.
Before he left, yeah.
And that right there, that's why I love that piece so much. Because
it's like there's always light in the darkness.
Yes!
Even if it may be dim and flickering.
It's just like there is a lot of bad in the world, but there is also still good. There are still good people out there.
There is always hope in something.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I
don't like mirrors.
After that scene, we had Zemo at like a memorial in Sokovia, or where Sokovia used to be, and Bucky shows up, and
with the gun.
Well, Zemo, before he sees the gun, is just sort of like, basically says, "I've decided not to kill you," because again, he's so anti-super soldier.
Yep.
But he's, he again impresses on the whole thing that Karli is not going to stop, and she is going to have to get put down. And you understand this. This is what they made you to be. They programmed you to be.
Why are you making him Russian?
I wasn't really putting that much of an accent on it, but at any rate. A little bit. But then Bucky pulls a gun on him and puts it like right to his right, or he has it by his side at first, and he just sort of like starts cocking it, and you see Zemo immediately is just sort of like, oh shit.
I was really hoping he would try a new trigger phrase.
Well, they only get set with one full phrase.
No, but he had like a journal that well, it's more to the point that he was only interested in the activation phrase for to put the Winter Soldier into kill mode. I'm sure there were probably other trigger phrases.
And when he put that gun to his head, I was expecting him to say one more phrase just to blank him out, not make him go in kill mode, but to shut him down
so that he could try to escape.
Yes,
or at least so that he could take the gun and turn it on.
I think there's only one because that's the only one that they've been telling us about, especially when they did the flashback to Wakanda.
Yeah, But
yeah,
it's like as soon as Zemo saw the gun, he knew he was screwed because it's like, I am up against a super soldier, and as highly trained as I am but a man. You know, he is faster than me. If I make any move, he will shoot me, and he is going to shoot me anyway. And then Bucky cocks it, click, just dry trigger pull, and then he just holds up his other hand and drops all the bullets on the ground. It wasn't loaded, and Zemo just sort of blinks for a bit, and then the Dora Milaje show up, and flank him, and Zemo is just like, ladies. And so they...
I wonder what kind... are they going to show his trial?
I doubt it.
Or we're just going to know that he's in Wakanda?
Well he's not going to Wakanda. Remember, Io said that they were going to take him to the raft.
That's true.
The one thing I like...
Which means he's still alive. Which means they could always bring him back to be a villain, or bring him back again.
The thing I like about that is the fact that they went from wanting him dead, to we are going to put him in a cell and let him walk.
I think it may be that... what?
Because he helped?
Because Bucky told them where he was going to be, and Bucky explained to them, I don't want to kill anymore.
Yes, he said, I want to ask for one more favor.
The one more favor was actually the wings.
No, but that means he asked for a favor away.
That's true. That's true.
The first favor
I don't think we're talking
was
about...
the 8 hours.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the 8 hours.
The 8-hour head start, yeah.
I forgot about that one.
But regardless, it's clear that Dora Milaje took his feelings on the matter into consideration. It's just sort of like...
Well, Zemo also mentioned he scratched his own name off the list.
Zemo scratched the name out in Bucky's book.
Because he has no hard feelings or remorse towards him.
Mm-hmm. And... and Io stayed behind briefly to talk with Bucky.
You only miss him for half an episode?
I'm going to miss him, though, because that means he's off the chessboard right now.
Yes, but he's more... It's more that he's been put onto another chessboard.
And that's why I like the actor they got with. They really got some good
Daniel Bruhl is a very good actor.
And I was like, because when he took... Again, when you take the stage and you act like that, it's just really good.
He commands the stage.
The thing, like I mentioned on a previous Bingecast, what I'd previously seen Daniel Bruhl in that I can really remember was the movie Rush, about the rivalry between James Hunt and Niki Lauda in Formula One. Chris Hemsworth actually played James Hunt, and Daniel Bruhl played Niki Lauda, and the two of them didn't like each other at first, but they developed like a respect for one another. It's a very good movie, and the acting is very well done. But yeah, so I already knew Daniel Bruhl was a good actor. So when he popped up as Zemo, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then here he got to just be the magnificent bastard that we always knew that Zemo could be.
We can't forget his old transgressions, though.
This is true. And then we got more about Sam Wilson and his family.
Which I think I like the ending of this episode probably the most of all. Bucky comes in to help out Sam without being asked or anything, just comes on out.
Just shows up to help repair the boat.
Yep, Sam is working with his family.
Entrance.
Yeah, because we should preface this by saying Sam finds out that Sarah can't sell the boat because it's in such a state of disrepair nobody wants it. So
it would cost more to fix it.
Mm-hmm. And so what does Sam do? He calls in favors from all their neighbors whom have known the Wilsons for years.
Their family, his parents that have
they've all helped one another out over the years. His parents especially helped them out with stuff, and so he just like, I need help fixing this boat.
Could I call in a favor?
And everybody was happy to do so.
It was like a neighborhood coming together to help fix a boat.
Yep. The Wilsons have been good to us. It's time we did something for them. And somebody helped deliver like a new generator or something for the boat on the back of a truck, and Sam's just like, how are we going to get this off the truck? And then suddenly Bucky just shows up and picks it up with both hands, lifts it up over his head even, and sets it down.
The best way to explain this for people who are old like us, it was a boombox put on his shoulder.
Yeah, he basically lifted it up onto his shoulder and then just set it down. And Bucky also flirted with Sarah.
Sarah. With
Or
a
she's
cheeky
like,
smile.
hey. He's like, hey, I'm Bucky. I'm Sarah. And Sam's watching this,
You
just
gave
sort of
that eye.
giving him the side eye.
I don't know if have you seen Psych at all,
Not really, no.
Zeke?
No.
Oh, you guys suck. I get a lot of vibes, like the camaraderie that
Yeah.
can happen between them, between
Yeah,
Sean and Gus,
yeah.
the two lead characters.
I've seen enough of a couple of
I
episodes.
know
of
because it
Psych
was on
to-
before wrestling on Monday nights.
No, it wasn't actually because of that. I
Really?
just picked it up. I
And
watched
they
it.
were on. They hosted an episode
I know.
or two.
I know. But yeah, it was just the camaraderie and the friendship between the two really started showing in this episode. Like to explain why Bucky was so pissed at him earlier in the series. It's like you could tell the two of them had gotten close at some point. But then this whole thing happened. And after they finished fixing up the boat
For the day.
we got to see Sam and Bucky practicing with the shield.
Well, we also got where Sam basically, not Sam, Bucky reached by saying, "Oh, well, I'm gonna have to get a hotel for the night."
Oh yeah, it's just like
I love that reach. That was the best
it
one.
was a very, very big reach, and even Falcon was just sort of like, "You motherfucker, I know what you're doing.
You're basically trying to
Just
guilt me
ask
into
already.
inviting you.
Just ask if you want to stay the night."
And then he woke up to his nephew, Sam's nephew's playing with the shield.
Yeah, and he's just sort of like, "Morning."
They're like, "Oh, he's awake."
and they quickly put it down and run off. He didn't be like, "Hey, that's not a toy." He's just sort
I'm
of
kind
like.
of surprised he was just like, eh. I mean, it's showing that they still love.
It's
Captain
also
America.
also showing that he is starting to let go of what that shield means.
Yes,
It's
because
just like he had such hang-ups over
talk
that
about
shield.
putting a shield on a pedestal, huh?
which is what Sam tried to do.
Both of them did. They put it on.
No. See,
Physically,
I was making a joke.
physically, but I mean, they put it at such
Falcon physically put it on a pedestal.
he had it at such a high regard, and he even I like how he finally sat down and explained it to Sam why,
Yeah, it's like this is like a family.
and apologized to him and handed him back the shield during the little training bit before the montage.
A full-on training montage. But yeah, it
Didn't
was
have
just
training montage music, man.
But
I thought this was a Disney show.
but it was good stuff. Bucky's like, I've got some. Was talking about how he'd been trying to make amends, and Sam calls him on. I was like, no, you've been trying to avenge things.
Well,
You've mostly
he became an Avenger for a reason.
No, but he was saying specifically about what he was doing with regards to the book. He was mostly going after the people that, the bad people that he had helped as the Winter Soldier.
He asked him if he still have them.
It wasn't helping his nightmares. It's like you need to work to help people, to reach out to people, things, and it's just
affected by what you had done.
And he tells Bucky, just start with one. And as soon as he said that, you and I looked at each other. We knew immediately he was thinking about Mr. Nakajima or whatever, the elderly Japanese neighbor of his.
The sassy elderly.
The sassy elderly dude.
It's like, he thinks you're hot. I was like,
but as for, and Bucky, they parted not as friends, not they're as two guys, that had a friend in common who's not here anymore. So now we're just two guys, as they put it.
and what did they finish it on? Ah, yes, the stinger was. You don't remember what the stinger was already?
Well, are we talking with Walker? Because we haven't touched on the full training montage thing after Bucky goes home, and there's more before the stinger also, because that's not where the episode ended. Because we had the training montage after Bucky leaves. Sam keeps practicing with the shield, and he's messing up, catching it on the rebound and everything, and he's doing his push-ups. He's running laps around his neighborhood and around the house and everything, getting better with practicing with the shield. And we also should mention Bucky, when he showed up, also brought along a big case that he gave to Sam. And we all know immediately when we saw it that it's a new set of wings that the Wakandans helped provide. And meanwhile, Zeke is pulling up something from Spider-Man Homecoming.
I'm wondering. Because I'm doing research, because when we were watching the Winter Soldier, they mentioned the Wrath. And the Wrath kicked into my brain. I thought that was the original place for the Gamma villains.
It's for really high-powered supervillains.
Yeah, the Gamma one's called the Cube. But the Vulture was held in the Raft. And I'm wondering, because this is in the same universe, and they've always said that, hey, Spider-Man's around here. I'm wondering if the Raft was where they put the Vulture at, because they did. That just means they put him.
I don't know that they did. I think they put him. Okay, so you go ahead and check that. And after, as you know, so Sam's now getting comfortable using the shield and everything. But then we got.
I thought you were me, Sam.
No, but then we got Karli meeting with her followers, and there was a scene earlier in the episode where we saw Sharon Carter in her gallery in Madripoor, or Tortuga if you're Zeke, pulling up making a call to someone. Basically, just like, if it weren't for me, you'd still be rotting in an Algerian prison. And we hear you could just hear some French swearing going on. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, that's Batroc. And sure enough, at the end of the episode, or towards the end of the episode, when we see Karli meeting with her other fellow Flag Smashers, they suddenly Batroc walks up, sets down a case which has a bunch of weapons, or like sidearms and some like grenades and stuff in it, and he makes it plain to them that it's like, I'm not here to be part of your revolution. I just want revenge on the Falcon.
Revenge on the Falcon paid.
And she's
so
like,
she's...
but then she then sends out like an alert on her phone over the social media network.
So she's like, you're a part of it now.
And we see a bunch of people in like Central Park or whatever, looking at their phones, and then starting to stand up, and then she just does a little like whistling, like a signal, and they all start walking over towards her. And then at the end of the episode, as the GRC is meeting to vote on the Patch Act, which would basically send all the refugees back to their countries of origin, while they're debating over all this, then suddenly we see a couple of security guards. One of them like scans his badge into like a computer terminal, turns to one of the others and just whispers, "One world, one people." And they start mobilizing, and then the place gets locked down, and bunch of the computers are all getting hacked. We see people rushing into the room. Clearly, the Flag Smashers are making a move on the GRC, and then Sam gets a call from Torres, and basically telling him, pointing out that they'd cracked some patterns or whatever. It's like they'd noticed these hot spots around Europe where there was a bunch of like social media activity of a certain type just before the Flag Smashers struck, but now there's been one in New York, and Falcon just goes, "Thanks, Torres. I'll take it from here." So it's like we know he's about to suit up with his wings.
I wonder if they're going to go with the new ones, which were red, white, and blue.
Maybe.
Well, hopefully he pulls out that shield.
Because there was a point in time in the comic books where the Falcon did have a cat shield, and it was with the red, white, and blue Falcon uniform.
But then there was a stinger at the end of the credits, where we saw John Walker assembling his own Captain America shield, hammering it out in a workshop somewhere.
All you start to hear is clanging. I'm like, Iron Man?
Yeah, and then we see him we see Walker like banging on some metal. It's just like, what is he building with a box of scraps here?
Well, I knew what he was building.
Yeah, it's like, but he's not only making his own Captain America shield. He's taken his medals of honor and he's welding them onto the shield. Just sort of like, as a sort of like this is who I am. This is what I am. You made me this. You built me. So things are starting to come together for a big confrontation next
US
episode.
agent.
Yep. What I doubt where he's going to be referred to as that. He'll probably just be John Walker. But we, as fans of the comics and everything, know U.S. agents. But
it depends on what kind of look he's going to go for.
Yep. But if I had to guess, beginning of next episode is probably going to start with Bucky trying to talk to his neighbor, and then suddenly shit starts going sideways.
That's right, because it's all in New York, right?
Mm-hmm. And then shit's going to start going sideways. Bucky's going to be like, I'll talk to you later. And then rushes off to go deal with it. And I think we're going to close the episode with Bucky finally talking to his neighbor to reach out to him. Or maybe he reaches out to him and the neighbor sort of throws him out, as he's trying to deal with it. And then we get the coda at the end where the neighbor maybe is, accepts his apologies for what happened. But
I would go with kind of that story. I'm going to go, he's not going to believe it. It's a horrible joke. And then he's going to realize, no, this was what happened. Because keep in mind, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
We don't know how long between point A and point B.
This is true. But that's why I'm saying, it maybe he gets thrown out or so like he doesn't accept it at the beginning of the episode, but by the end of the episode, he has come to that sort of acceptance. Yes, it's reopened an old wound, but now it's gotten to the point where it can actually start to heal instead of just fester.
I'm sad I couldn't find the dots. I swore they said, because every time they go to an area, they say, Riker or something like that.
Rikers Island,
there was
New York City.
Said there.
Yeah,
and I was really hoping that was...
I don't think that's the raft from the clips that we were just seeing there in the background. That looked like ordinary prison stuff to me.
You got some cranes out there and some waterfall. Possibly, but the raft's bigger than these.
There's bullets.
Huh?
If it's underground, it can't be because there were birds ahead.
Well, no, because remember the raft was where they held Ant-Man, and I cannot take you seriously with celery in your beard.
Sucks to be you because I ain't moving it now.
Remember, that's when they held Ant-Man. God,
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye and
because I remember the original raft was in the middle of the ocean.
It was.
Okay.
And so is the raft in or the facility in Civil War.
Yeah, that's the raft.
Okay.
That's why I was like, oh, maybe it might be connecting the two. Because you all know how much of a Spider-Man fan I am.
Yeah.
I was hoping, I'm stretching at this point in time, folks.
You want it to be still part of the MCU, don't you?
Yes. Considering what they did with Morbius, yes.
If that ever comes out.
Along with Venom, too,
There will be Carnage. You love their long name for it?
I thought they changed that one.
Thought it was going to be Total Carnage.
Is it Total Carnage now?
I don't know.
I thought
At any rate, it was a good episode.
Right.
Gets a little heavy-handed with the social commentary, but, yeah, they're dropping anvils, but some anvils need to be dropped.
Just change the formula of your anvil.
Formula works.
Sometimes, add a little bit of pepper or, a little bit of something sweet to go with it.
But I do like that they are essentially keeping the cinematic sort of quality of these shows pretty high. It is like we're watching just pieces of an MCU movie, but it's a TV show. Yeah.
Shit, we're seeing a whole arc of an MCU movie.
But the shows allow them to do this development and exploration of themes and stuff that they can't necessarily do in a 2-hour movie. So looking forward to seeing where it's going to go, how they're going to wrap everything up at the end of the show.
I'm more curious on what threads they're not going to tie. Because there's no way.
They're not.
They're going to tie every thread down in another
because they've got to keep some things going through Phase 4
or Season 2.
I don't know if they're necessarily going to do season
I heard they weren't
one,
gonna do
one and twos for these things.
People are speculating a season 2 of WandaVision.
It's like that's not happening. I mean, they called the last episode of WandaVision the series finale. That was the title of the episode. That's pretty definitive.
I mean,
Not to say that there won't be another Wanda show, but it's not going to be WandaVision.
You could do the one-time crossover of Loki, because they've already mentioned this time travel for that one.
Time travel, alternate world stuff. Yeah.
Could you?
I'm really looking forward to Loki.
Could you see that? He time travels smack into what was that town called? God, West Point?
Westview?
Westview. He time travels right into Westview, and Wanda looks at him. Nope. Time travels back.
She just goes, nope, blink, and sends him straight back out.
How did your mission go? I'm not going back there.
Or worse, he gets in there, gets caught up in the spell, and becomes just another happy citizen until she notices him and is just like, no, and sends him off.
Oh, she launched him back to his worst point in time when Hulk smashed him constantly and puts him in a loop.
Bounces him between, or sends him through a bunch of portals. I've been falling for 30 minutes! But yeah, I think we're done discussing for this week, and Sam has nothing more to add. I see him over here shaking his head.
I will add the one little bit of salt to this one. How much longer until this type of cinematic culture says this is bad?
It hasn't happened yet.
Because we went from Dumbo being bad.
That sort of thing.
Peter Pan being bad, which is next going to be Peter Pan.
Oh, because of the natives.
Yes,
yeah,
the natives. So
I don't.
At some point in our future,
that section to me was so insignificant. I don't even remember that.
So at some point in our future, we're going to get to a point where we look at this, which is a good piece.
Aristocats.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that one. We're going to look at the piece like this and be like, this is bad. This
Pinocchio.
is something we need to hide. Which one?
Pinocchio. That was for a different reason. It had nothing to do with, as far as I can remember.
I can't.
With race.
I can't think of that being a racist thing. That being one of the sick bastards like, hey, Pinocchio, sit on my face and tell a lie.
Anyway, I don't know that there's going to be any sort of answer.
That's so wrong.
Zeke's point was
Zeke
is talking about how there's been a trend that people look at old media like Dumbo with the crows in the old animated Dumbo, with the crows being like a caricature of black people, and Peter Pan with the depiction of Native Americans on the island.
Oh, the Native Americans. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
and
Clever Boys.
Yeah, I can't remember the name
Boys?
the name of the
The Lost Boys were the ones that were brought there. The Forever Boys were the ones that
or whatever. There was like the native.
I'm still remembering.
Yeah, I'm blanking on what they were called, but I know what you're talking about.
I remember I was a kid. I just watched the action and stuff. See, here's the thing: is it always racist, or is it racist to the people who see it that it's racist?
And that goes back to that opinion that everybody has assholes.
Because I have a cat in my salad. Because when I was a kid, I look at these things, I don't think of them as, oh, these are black crows depicting black people. I'm thinking that they're just silly-ass crows. Just like the same problem that people had a big issue with, and by no stretch of the imagination was anywhere close to a decent movie, Transformers 2. Depicting the twins.
The twins were my favorite ones.
They were saying that they were very poorly made racial stereotypes of black people. And when I was in the movie, at no point did I think that at all. I thought they were backwoods hillbillies because they do the same thing. They've got 2 buck teeth. One may be gold. They don't know how to read. I mean, I never once geared in my brain until I read it somewhere. And even then, I'm like, but no. Half my family's from West Virginia. First thing I thought was hillbillies.
No, not that kind of hillbilly.
No.
He's thinking more of the hold my beer and watch this kind of hillbilly.
That's what I felt every time they were on screen.
He said
They're
that, but
bumping into each other. They're pooting. They're making noises.
That was my neighborhood 4th of July party. When we would always have fireworks, you hear the one guy, hold my beer, I'm going to jump to the fireworks, as we're lighting ones that shoot in the sky. I'm not talking about the ones shooting the sparklers. No, we're talking about the mortars.
I'm going to jump over the mortar and try not to take it to the nuts.
Yes! That's what was my 4th of July!
It's like I was there.
Wow.
But yeah, it's all in how you read it.
And, well...
Yes, and to a fair point, the Crows most likely were definitely meant to depict that. But if you watch it
because Jim Crow.
It's because of the time.
Yes, that too.
The time is the worst part. But as a kid watching these movies, I don't repeat it. I don't see it in real life. I don't pull it and take it into my world and say,
that's how I'm going to behave.
That's a black person. That's an Indian. That's this and that's that. No.
God help us be able to do Space Jam 2.
At any rate,
we've gone on long enough.
But going back to again with what Zeke was asking, when is this sort of like going back and look at old media to find stuff that triggers us thing going to stop? It's not ever going to stop. This is always going to be a thing.
I blame Sonic the Hedgehog for it.
What the recent movie?
Yes, because the fans spoke up loud enough, and the studio went, "Holy shit, they are white. Sonic looks like ass. We're going to change it."
I personally think that the trailer was deliberately made to look that way.
You're
so
under
that they
conspiracy umbrella.
I do believe that there's no way that they would have pulled that something like that.
Have you seen the movies like, I don't know, Monster Hunter?
Yes.
Here's the problem. I agree with him because Monster Hunter had a lot of backlash for it because it's a very beloved franchise, and they done fucked it up and they didn't listen to the fans. So with Sonic, I can't. I was in that camp originally too until I read a lot more into it. The original people who did the Sonic animation fired. They had to bring on a whole new crew, and they got fired as well afterwards.
But I blame.
They got fucked.
I blame the Sonic
Admittedly, I know little about all this drama going on with that. Because I don't spend a whole lot of time on social media.
I blame that because that's where everybody started going, if we speak loud enough, we will change the world. And then they started laughing evilly.
Well, some of them probably did. I don't doubt that social media can be a good platform to try to generate change. The question is whether all change is good.
What was that quote from Jurassic Park?
They're so wrapped up in whether or not you could, you didn't stop to think whether or not you should.
Yes!
Best line ever.
Yes.
That's going to be in our history books one of these days.
But yes, I think we're done now talking Falcon and Winter Soldier for this week. We almost turned this into a Ramblecast. We're almost at an hour and a half. So we're going to go ahead and wrap.
Normal length, we're fine. They know we go off track once in a while.
Yes, this is true, but we try to generally keep the usual stuff down to like an hour or so and go longer for more Ramblecasts, or if we've got Road on hand.
Well, now we're rambling about a Ramblecast.
Okay, yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up now. So
bye, guys!
For Zeke and Sam, I am Jay.
I'm Sam.
And we'll see you next week.
I'm Zeke.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Bored to Death Bingecast. Be sure to check out our library of past podcasts via CKCC Radio or via our YouTube channel and give us a like and subscribe. We'll see you after our next binge.